Hi, good day everyone. Well, this is Sergio again. Right, today I'll just share some testimonies about my life, where God has led me to, where He's taken me to, where He has brought me from. You know, let me tell you, it's a miracle, right? My voice is sounding like that, like this, because I have it's like getting over the cold, right? So bear with me. In my years, teenage years, well, first I'll say that I was introduced to Seventh-day Adventist Church, you know, like from the age of 9, 10. At the age of 10, I was baptized, and then I always had a passion for knowing the truth. I always had a passion for going to church and stuff like that. But I'll speak the truth. I think at age 10 and all these times, these puppy love, you may see a girl in church or a guy in church, for girls, and they will say, hey, this girl pretty. So I used to find myself in church every Sabbath, Sunday and Wednesday sometimes, because I want to see this girl. My mom used to be wondering, hey, this boy love church so? I mean, I think sincerely I like going to church, but there was this girl. But I mean, nothing could become of it. I mean, age 10, age 11, at that time, it's different. Yeah, I can remember in school. Now in school, it's like if you get a whole girl's hand, yeah, that's like a huge thing. Now, as we see, a lot of things are going on in society with these kids now. They are going really deep into this thing. And it's such a sad, you know, reality of things that we live in, that time that we live in now. No longer kids wanna, just play and just do kids things. Most of them, they're interested in grown up things now. And such a sad thing. I remember growing up small, we used to be outside playing all the time, all kind of sports, and different things. But now time has really changed. Right, I'll just start, from around 15. So from around 15 in school, at that time I started to get really curious with girls. I will say in my family, it's a family curse that this whole concept of polygamy, having many girls, not so much wives, but just having girls. And we know the situation in the Bible with Solomon and many others. Their downfall is having more than one, and not only having more than one, but actually worldly companions. Right? It trickled down through my family, being promiscuous and all these things, and trust me, I'm not gonna boast about anything, but I didn't have to try. I didn't have to try to get any girls. It was just easy for me. One would like me, and tons of others, would like me at the same time and stuff like that. But I was never the type of guy, it may have a situation where these couple of guys looking at this one girl and they're trying to see who can get this girl. But me, I was the one who taken a backseat, who's not interested in, you know, with these group of guys to try to get his girl. But let me tell you, it's so happened that the girl always had like the more laid back one, and they used to go for me. You know. But I mean, enough about that. I just would like to really share and point out that this deep sin, this deep downfall, you know, I will say, this curse that's in my family that God delivered me from. You know, it was girlfriend after girlfriend. It was, and I think be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. You know, it was not resonating in my mind at that time. But I still remember, you know, there were some principles, some principles that I was taught, you know, from the Bible, from my parent, from my mom, and you know, I remember, you know, I get to understand coming down, you know, to close to my early 20s. I was involved with this girl from this other religion, you know, and she basically was a Pentecostal, and we had like each other. We wanted to enter a relationship with each other, but she was a bit controlling. You know, at one time she invited me to a Sunday church, and I went. You know, once she invited me, I am interested to go. And the girl, we reached really early, and she was like, "Hey, the pastor is coming. Straighten up, sit straight." I said, "What?" I said, "I'm not that type of guy. You know what you trying to tell me? I'm not gonna straighten up for any guy. I never really hold mere man, to this high esteem. It's only God is to be held at this high esteem, and it troubled me. But then I let it slide. And then, the service started and everything was going nice. Well, while the guy started to preach, in between he preaching okay stuff, but then he started speaking tongues. Well, I was a bit tuned out, because if all of a sudden he could start to rabble a set of stuff, well then what spirit could have been leading him in the first place, or what led him? Right, so I was a bit skeptical. In the end of the service, she asked me, "Hey, so how you find it was, Sergio?" I said it was okay, just that when he reached to the speaking in tongues part, I didn't agree with it. And she fought me on that. She said, "Hey, this man is filled with the Holy Spirit," and stuff like that. But I was able to witness to her and to share stuff with her. That was quite of an experience. Well, it never really lasted, because in the end we realized, well, hey, if we were to even go further, get married, that kind of stuff, what religion or our kids or whoever, who would have, what religion they would follow, whether keeping Sabbath holy on Saturday or going to church on Sunday. So we just realized that hey, this can't work, and then it started apply, resonate in my mind that God, His word is true, and there's a reason why We are not to be unequally yoked, and and sometimes, yeah, situations like that could even allow us to stray from the truth. Um, I will just say that God has brought me from really far. I had such a deliverance. I was delivered from, well, I was not so deep into pornography per se, but I was very interested in it. I was a bit addicted in a way, you know. I mean, sometimes I'll even get emails at that time. I will see these emails from girls online and stuff like that, and I'll just click on them, and one thing led to the other. You know, I found myself to be really, really vicey, really perverted, and these things start a war after, war against the flesh, sexual immorality, sex before marriage, fornication, all of these things I started to see that now that I look back at it, it's really a serious thing, because it affects your mind, affects your body, mental, spiritual, everything, and there's a reason why God says we ought not to have sex outside of marriage. I had to learn the hard way. I'll fast forward and say that at the age of 22, God called me. He got my attention. He really wanted to take me out of darkness. Must I say at first, before I continue? Now, you could be in the church. You could be in the church, but not in the church. Right? You can be a seat filler. You can be going to church for all these years, but you don't even know God. You don't have that genuine relationship with God. You're just going. Some go because their parents say, hey, come to church, you have to go to church, and then when age 18 comes, they get up and they leave. Because there is no conviction, there is no conversion. Ellen White says that majority of the church is unconverted. And it's such a sad thing. And whereas church members or church folks supposed to be, influencing people of the world into truth, the opposite is happening. The church is becoming more and more worldly. And I find that to be a really sad thing, a serious thing. So at age 22, I would say my journey. So mind you, from since age 10, I entered the church, and then at age 22, that's when God really started to get my attention. What happened is, it had one night, me, a partner, and one of his friends, we went to this concert, this so-called Adventist concert, and coming back home in the night. The girl's parents, they took for granted that we could handle ourselves. They were planning to come and meet her with the car and pick her up and drop us, but they took for granted that we could handle ourselves. So we stopped out, started walking that area, and then I think this red car pull up, and it was full with guys. About 2 or 3 came out. I think one had a gun, and they started search us down. Hand over everything. But let me backtrack a little bit. The phone that they took from me, alright? The phone that they took from me is, well, it was one of those Porsche phones. But at that time, I would say 6 years ago, I think BlackBerry came out, around that time, but not these smartphones and stuff now. But I save up a lot of money, to buy this phone. I say, hey, I want a nice phone, so I save up. And this is what I'm telling God. I say, God, because that phone you could play music, videos, everything. I will start to put gospel on my phone. I started listening to gospel music and stuff like that. Well, I was fooling myself, not God. It didn't happen that way at all. I started listening, I was well into R&B music and rap and stuff like that, and started listening to the whole of these songs. Usher and these other guys, Chris Brown, all these guys. Trust me, I knew these songs to a T, and Trey songs and all these guys. Well, all those videos, all those songs on my phone. No gospel up to now. Keep telling God, I'll give it up. But he's probably saying, do not be fooled. I am not mocked, son. I continued still. But that phone had all the numbers of the girls that I stayed in touch with. The numerous, countless girls. Right? That I some of my ex, some who like me, who I like and whatnot. But God had a plan for my life. When something happened, you can't really, you try to figure out why this happened. There's only as time passes, it reveals itself, And what happened is, so they took that phone, they took my wallet, they took whatever else, money. I wasn't upset for the fact that they took those things. I was just upset because they took my ID and bank card and all these things, and it will take a little time to get back these things. But in the end, I was trying to figure out why this happened, asking God why. But little do I know that He was trying to prepare me for something greater. He wanted me to reach that high and holy standard. So I will say at 22 my journey began. And I think 2 weeks after, or around that same time, I got a dream. And I think God gave me the dream to show me, well, hey, I have a plan for you. In that dream, my 2 front teeth, they were shaking and falling out. In my family, usually we will get these dreams where when we don't have that relationship with Christ, or when our relationship with Christ is slipping, you know, we are drawing further away from Christ, our teeth will be falling out. So that used to remind me, hey, you are slipping. You need to get back on track with God. And I thank God for that, because He always try to remind me, whatever path. He always try to keep me on the straight and narrow. I was never a guy too interested in parties and stuff like that. I experienced drinking some alcohol, just a bit curious. But clubs and stuff like that, I was never really too interested in these things. So this dream that I got right after that robbery, it was strange. In that dream, one of my mom's friend was in a dream. My 2 front teeth falling out. So I'm there telling him, I say, hey Adrian, why my 2 front teeth falling out, boy? If that fall out, I no teeth for the rest of my life. I'm 22. My teeth can't grow back. That's the end of that. He said, boy, just have faith. Just have faith. It's gonna grow back. I say, how is that even possible? I did curling. Might I just add that I grew up with a very bad temper. Very, very bad temper. Very aggressive. My temper was so bad that no one in my home, they know not to get me vexed, because I'm the type of person, I'm so furious when I get angry. No one would like to get me angry. Again, I would like to thank God. Thank God for taking away this temper from me. He has allowed me to experience things with people where the experiences prove to help these deficiencies. I was able to be living with a stepfather of mine who got me on my nerves very often. I worked with a couple of bosses who got me on my nerves, but through the experience with my stepfather, I was able to just ignore, and over a period of time, I believe God just started to take this temper away from me, because, I wouldn't reach far with it. I could have gotten in trouble with this temper. I will liken myself to Peter. How Peter was quick to cut off this man is, arrogance and all these things. I'm close to that, but I also, liken myself to David. Only God knows my heart. And so this guy just telling me, hey, have faith, boy. The teeth will grow back. So I kept curling, and sorry about that. Kept curling, and eventually the 2 front teeth started to shake. It started to shake, and then it started to rock, and then it rocked to the side, and then I saw two baby teeth, and right then and there I was really surprised. I was shocked. This represented new beginnings, a new life to me. And So God was preparing me to meet my wife to be. 2 weeks after that same incident, or having that dream, is when I met my wife, my present wife now. It really took some time, because we met at a convention, SD. She was born into the Adventist faith. A very nice girl. So we both two young folks. I was 22, she was 18, and started to date and stuff. During our courtship, I was only asking God, when is the time? Because I already asked him for several signs, if we were meant to be and all these things, and he confirmed. I was just asking him, hey, when should we get married? When is the best time? And I used to be hearing these numbers: 26, 22, 26, 20 in my mind. So I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was lottery numbers. I don't know. Well, I don't play these things. I don't play these things, but I tried to figure out what these numbers represent. But it took some time for us to get to know each other. It was only through dating and stuff like that I started to realize that there were a lot of deficiencies, a lot of downfalls in me and in my wife at that time, that it took some time to get over. So we courted for like 5 years and got married. But we had a big bang. That 26, 22 was actually our age that we were supposed to get married. So I got married at 26, we were on 27, and she was 22. Well, 20, yeah. And that is a blessing right there, a confirmation from God. Then in marriage, it wasn't easy at first. It wasn't at first. Courtship, we used to pick her, quarrel a lot. She was the type, to break up with me most times, and make back up. But I know you all will be familiar with those things. But nevertheless, in marriage, two different cultures. She's from another country. I'm from Trinidad. And you're just trying to merge, trying to get to know each other, really. Courting and living together is two different things. I'm not a guy to be living common law. I don't believe in those things. It's not biblical. So I never really allow that. Then in marriage, God started to show me how weak I am. All my downfalls. I started to see it popping up on my own. How messed up I was. And I thank him for bringing me to this place now. Let me see if I could remember and mention some of these things. Well, one of the things was to purify, me, my mind, with perverted thoughts, not so much with porn and stuff like that, but vice. My mind was, I was a really freaky guy, and these two texts, I believe, and still is helping me, that I have been applying daily. And one is Psalms 51 verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. And 1 Corinthians 5:7, or 1st or 2nd Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away, behold, all things are become new. So brethren, I know that God is merciful. I know that He is loving. He's gracious. He's forgiving. He's long-suffering. It took a miracle, to help me. And I know many of you, will testify to, God, taking, you from one place and bringing you to the next. The thing is, before marriage, I used to be a bit flirtish. I used to flirt with other girls. Even though I had my wife to be. I didn't really used to allow it to reach to the extent of being interested or anything. It's just that I'm a very friendly person. I'm a very vibrant person. I'm a people person. I will go to this new place and I wouldn't show much. I wouldn't be that open one time. But as soon as I get to know everyone, I'm a kicks guy. I like to make jokes and stuff like that. But I'm a people person. My wife is the opposite. She's a bit antisocial in that sense. She's more to herself. But opposite attracts, and that's a good thing. So in marriage, I had this friend who I knew before marriage. We started to talk and stuff like that. And we would talk when my wife, when we had to separate, for a few months. She go to another country. And me and this friend used to talk, and we just had a normal friendly bond, nothing to it. But then one thing led to another. Talking online. My wife always used to tell me before that there's something also called emotional cheating. We know about committing adultery already, which is wrong. The Bible says so. That's one of the commandments. But there's emotional cheating as well, and it also falls in that same category. But I used to ignore it. I used to say, that's foolishness. If you commit adultery, I think, meaning physical, that's what the Bible is talking about. But the Ten Commandments actually goes deeper than we think. It goes deeper. But I experienced this emotional cheating. And brethren, when I realized my downfall, I got up the morning after. And I was really hurting. Really, really, really hurting. The devil really, really tried a thing, and I just allow things to take its course. There was no red light, there was no stoplight. Eventually I spoke to my wife about it. She was a bit cool, and then she told me that I would like you to stop communicating with this friend, and at first, I wasn't fully convicted. I told her that I'll pray about it and stuff like that, and I did, and God helped me, and I stopped talking to the person, you know. Then that time when she left me for the 2 months, there was other stuff that God was trying to show me. He was trying to get me to the point where there is no compromise. You see this Christian walk that we are walking in, all Christians out there. Let me tell you, we are not to bear false witness, against our neighbors, against anyone. If God be God, serve him. If Baal be God, then serve him. How long halt he between two opinions? And I'm very adamant towards this now, because I started to realize that I was playing church. I started to realize that God is a serious God. God has a high and holy standard. God is not mocked. So we can't be fooling ourselves. We can't be going to church and then doing all the things of the world at the same time. It's not in the river on the bank. So God had to allow many separations between me and my wife in order for me to reach to a high and holy standard. Another thing that he wanted me to cut out was movies. Majority of the movies is from Babylon. It's from Hollywood, and we are not be partaking in these things. The call is to come out of Babylon, my people. And I've been telling you, it had an experience one night. Me and my wife was worshiping, and we were reading from a book with a compilation of Ellen White's writings. And that night, I remember Sister White talking about, we are to, sever ourselves from things of the world, the movies, the music, all these things. And I remember at that time I was watching this show named Dexter, this crime scene show. And that show had a lot of cussing. The thing about it is, I wasn't paying attention to the cursing, but attention to the plot. It was going good. But after a while, you try to convince yourself, that hey, there's nothing big, man. Don't pay attention to the cursing. But that's just a deception from Satan, making you think that it is all well and good. But when we read that night, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like if God was trying to tell me something. Hey, I'm trying to get your attention, young man. I'm trying to get your attention. And I remember after we dropped on our knees and I prayed a really specific prayer. And I told him, God, if you want me to cut out this movie, a movie with cursing on it, give me the victory now. Give me the victory now and take away the desire for this thing. Brethren, I got up from my knees that night. Had no desire to watch that movie again. And let me tell you, I was very addicted to that movie. That Dexter has up to season 9. And I reached season 7, so you could understand how far I reached it. How far it was really, really interesting. So for me, and it was not me, to give this up all of a sudden. And let me tell you, God is a good God. I hear the deception again. Well, this Christian journey is a process, because when you read the Gospels, The disciples walked and talked with Jesus for 3 years, but they were unconverted. Right? Jesus told Peter, Peter, the devil desires to sift you as wheat. But when you are converted, strengthen the brethren. So we see that it takes time. It's a progressive journey. God never leaves you at one point. He always desires for us to reach the high and holy standard. The song that says we are climbing Jacob's ladder. It's one step after the next, rise above. I think after that I went to PG movies, and then he was still trying to get my attention to cut it out. And then eventually I started to say in my mind, God, if I cut out movies altogether, I could watch a movie twice a week or so. But if I cut it out completely, what is there? I'll be bored. And he was just trying to show me, I am there. My word is there. Spend time with me. Brethren, and eventually I cut out movies altogether. And God was just, this text that says, when He, the Spirit of truth, is come, He will guide us into all truth. Brethren, that text is real, because from the moment I give up movies completely, God was just waiting for to reveal truths to me in His Word, and a lot more. And up to this day, He's still revealing truths to me. I don't know anything, because at the end of the day, spiritual things are spiritually discerned. So I don't know anything. Only the Lord can teach us His Word. Then I switched to the music now. I think at age 25, after 22, when I got robbed and everything, at age 25, I started listening to some more gospel and stuff like that. And I think I went to do a diploma at a school. And one time in a maxi, the driver would just play gospel music, and I just enjoyed it. But there was one song that stood out. And I was trying to get this song, search up a lot, and eventually I got it. And this guy's song, was really speaking to me. Really touching songs. And God took me from one step to the next. I think for about a year or so, after that, I was really enjoying it. And then came a time, I listened to a video presentation by Dwayne Lemon. It's talking about, I think, strange fire, mixing the holy with the profane. And he was speaking about music. And he showed, the situation, I think, in Samuel, when Saul was troubled with a demon spirit. He was searching for a guy, who can play the harp. And they found David. And David will come and play the harp just by playing godly music. The demon spirits will flee. So that spoke to me in volumes, because even though these songs that I was listening to was really touching, there was also drums. There was also drums in the music, and I didn't know the truth at that time. And in ignorance, God winks. you know. So eventually I found out the truth about it, about the drums and stuff like that. Imagine as mixing the holy with the profane. That's strange fire. All these electric guitars and all these things. Even our national instrument, which is pan, that is a form of drum. When you do the history of that, you do the history of drums. Drums were used in battle and stuff like these things. And when these people play these drums, evil demonic spirits will be invoked. And these people. So even Spirit of Prophecy mentions that coming soon to the pass of the Sunday law, drums will be played in churches. The Holy Spirit cannot dwell in this bedlam of noise. What happens is when these drums start to play, the angels, they cover themselves until these loud music, this confusion is ended, and then they come right back in. Because God's Spirit can't dwell in a place like that, but as a high and holy standard. I think only of recent, could be almost a year, I was introduced to this group named Fountain View Academy. And brethren, there's a lot of hymns, really heavenly music, and I thank God for that group. That's the only group that I listen to now, because I understand that most of these so-called gospel music has a lot of drums in it, and not because they put Jesus in the lyrics. It's gospel. Look, I think former Destiny's Child singers, Kelly, Michelle, Beyonce, they sang a song recently named "If Jesus Say Yes, Nobody Can Say No." Does it make it right? Does it, is it gospel? The Bible says, by their fruits they shall know them. I'm not condemning anyone, but the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know us. So, what do you know these singers to be in? They are part of Babylon. So, brethren, God is really looking for men and women who will stand up and call sin by its rightful name. He's really trying to get us to that high and holy standard. The whole plan of redemption is to bring us back to perfection. And that perfection is how Adam and Eve was before the fall. They did no sin. Jesus, when he was on earth, he did no sin. But our weak mortal flesh can't do nothing. The flesh, as Paul said, the flesh is more or less is bent on doing wrong. It's bent on doing evil. But in Christ's Spirit, we can do good. We can keep the law. So we just have to ask for the Holy Spirit to dwell in us, to dwell in our hearts. Ask for Jesus, His Spirit, to allow us to overcome as He overcame on earth. Brethren, He made it possible for us to be in victory over all sin. It is a fact. So now that I see that God is trying to get me to that high and holy standard, I see how high this standard is. And most of us, we have a lot, a very long way to go. Brethren, is only by God's grace, it's only through His strength, only through His blood we can achieve this. really get back, you know, to the place we once were before the fall. Right, so I just, was impressed to share some testimonies with you all, where God has taken me from, where He's carrying me to, and you all will be familiar with some of my videos that I posted already. Please tune into them, subscribe, share, and I really hope that this was a blessing to you. Prayer is important. Prayer is the key. Most importantly, spend time in God's Word, because He can take us. He can take us from, oh wretched man that I am. We are just really messed up, but God wants to save us. His wish is that none should perish, but all come to repentance. Okay. So, brethren, I love you. And let's make the right decision. Hold on to Jesus. All right. Peace and love.